Hi. I just wanted to share with you guys something that has been helping me in my everyday life to be more productive and get more things done that I don't really think a lot of people have ever really done. I'm not really sure because I kind of made it up. And it's been really helping me lately. And I just kind of wanted to share it with you guys because if it helps me, then it could possibly help you. I'm the type of person where it's really difficult for me to just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 action. There's this speaker who's pretty well known, and she says, "Don't think about it, just do it. Don't think about it, just do it." And so that's her take on how to get over the procrastination, how to get over the sense of not wanting to do something, because your brain overrides your thinking and tells you, oh no, I don't want to do it. So before you have a chance to consider thinking, if you just put yourself into action, then you won't have time to think. And so this has worked for a lot of people around the world, and a lot of people were like, oh my God, it works. Like, if I just do it and I don't give my brain time to think about it, then I just do it. Okay, cool, but I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people. Like, my brain will think to do something, and then I'll be like, nah, I don't want to do it before I can even put myself into action. Like, it just doesn't happen for me. Like, I've been through a lot in my life where I had turned down a lot of things because of social anxiety or because of doubt or because of whatever have you. And I feel like we're all the same. We all have things that we deal with. And if one of those things that you deal with is turning down a lot of things, like maybe you turn down a drink, or you turn down going out with your friends, or you turn down just being like anything, if you think about it in your head and you're like, nah, I'll do it later. Nah, I'll do it later. Like, even if it's just, oh, I should make my bed, but you're like, nah, I'll do it later. This is something that happens to us humans. It's not really it's just like a procrastination or a negative mindset to where we just put things off constantly. And we just give ourselves excuses constantly on why we shouldn't do it, or nah, I'm not good enough to do that, or no, I shouldn't do this. So what I did was I took it upon myself to write down every single thing that I turned down, and write down every single thing that I told myself I wanted to do at that moment, and I was like, nah, I'll do it later. So whether or not it was someone inviting me out to dinner and I said no, or whether or not it was something as simple as soon as I woke up in the morning, I wanted to go for a walk and I decided not to, and I watched a YouTube video instead. Like, whatever it was that I decided not to do, that choice bracket where I could go one way or the other, I wrote down what I decided not to do. And I realized that at the end of the day, I had like almost a full paper of things that I turned down, that I didn't want to do, or that I thought was, it's not something that I wanted to do, or I was too lazy to do it, or I didn't want to put someone else out of their way to do whatever they asked me to do for me. And, so I looked at this entire paper, and like, maybe you're busy and you're not living your life, then carry a little notebook, and just every time that you decide to make the opposite decision, write down and think. And so I looked at the paper, and I had like a lot of different things written down on it, like all the things that I had turned down that day. Like, I went to church and they offered me if I wanted a root beer and like a bag of donuts, and it was free, and I turned it down. I was like, no. So that was one of the things that I wrote down. And then I turned down going to hang out with my friend that night, and I turned down, what was it, washing the dishes, just stupid little tiny things that I turned down. And I know you get the gist of it. I'm just giving you examples. Every single thing that pops into your head, well, your 1, 2, 3 action bullshit, every single thing that pops into your head, just write it down. Like, this is what I turned down. This is what no shame in your game. Just write it down. And you'll see at the end of the day, all of the things that you turned down that you could have done that you didn't do. And then what I did afterwards was I looked at all the stuff, and I was like, imagining what my day would have been like if I would have said yes to this, if I would have said yes to this, if I would have said yes to that. And I was like, huh. So if I wouldn't have turned myself down, today would have been, I went for a walk. I made myself a nice healthy breakfast. I looked up a recipe online and then went to the store and made it. Like, it would just be all these different things that I turned down in my head for the day. And I looked at that paper and I was like, this seems so much better than the day that I had today. Versus, like, doing all these things and being this productive, having all these things actually pop into my head and I'm like, oh, I'm bored. No. I'm bored because I turned down every single thing that popped into my head because I felt like, oh, I don't want to do it right now, or oh, I'm not dressed, or oh, you know, I don't want to go out of the house without makeup on, or whatever the excuse was. I looked at that list of things and I was like, my day would have been like 10 times better if I would have just did what I told myself I didn't want to do that day. So instead of having this nice productive day of going for a walk, getting some nice fresh groceries from the farmer's market, making a nice healthy delicious recipe, and like all these different things that I had on the list, my day was, oh, I sat around all day and I watched Netflix and I replied to some emails, and that's the day that I chose. So I looked at my day and I looked at the day I could have had, and every single day since, I've been writing down the things that I don't do, the things that I don't do, the things that I choose not to do. And I have realized that I have been taking so many more chances. I have been doing so many more things that pop into my head because I'm like, you know what? I want my day to be that kind of day. I want to look at my paper and be like, my day was better than this paper. I want to be able to be like, oh, I don't have that long of a list anymore. I'm actually taking initiative. I'm actually doing these things and taking action. And I also feel like it's a circle. The more that you allow things into your life and the more that you take the chances and the more that you say yes to things, the more things that are presented to you. Because if you keep saying no to everything, then eventually the door is going to close and you're just going to live in your own little bubble of repetition. Eventually, you're not going to have those opportunities. If you keep saying no to your friend that keeps asking you out every Saturday, eventually they're not even going to include you in their plans because they think you're going to say no. So if you say yes to opportunities and say yes to the things that go on in your head, then your head starts filling you up with even more choices and ideas of things to do. And your day just becomes that much more eventful and that much more productive and that much more exciting because the things that you thought you wanted to do, you're actually doing them and putting them to action. And then the things that you didn't even think that you wanted to do end up becoming things that you end up doing because of all of the opportunities that you're accepting into your life. You become a giant whirlwind of acceptance and you're just going on this adventure that you didn't even think you would have because you said yes to this one thing that you had no idea was going to lead to this. So this is just what I have been doing, and it's been really helping me to write down everything that I'm saying no to, whether it's something as small as making my bed or something as big as saying no to a friend or driving somewhere or signing online to go on camera. Anything that pops into my head, I'll write it down. And it's really helped me to make an impact on my life of allowing more opportunities and allowing more great things to come into my life because I'm actually accepting them. So I hope that this helps you guys. And stay tuned for more videos from me. Just kidding. I'm totally going to cut that out. Probably not. Okay, bye.